everybody, and welcome to Sacred Wit Season 2. We are glad that you are here. We're going to be live at the church in just a few moments, but while we wait to get set up, we wanted to put together a little welcome video, and so that's what this is. Welcome to Sacred Wit. You are in the right place, and we're going to be live from the church in just a moment. But while we wait, we're going to start off by sharing a few jokes with you tonight. All right, so let me call up my assistants to help me share some jokes. Ben's uncle has the heart of a lion, right, Ben? And also a lifetime ban from the zoo.
Someone stole my mood ring. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's good.
Welcome to Sacred Wit. I got a joke for you. It's more of a story. One of my friends came up to me and said, "What rhymes with orange?" And I said, "No, it doesn't."
Welcome to Sacred Wit. So, after a day of shopping, Lena came home from the store and said to her husband, Oli, "There's trouble with the car, sweetheart. It has water in the carburetor." Oli said, "Water in the carburetor? That's ridiculous." "Oh, Oli, I tell you, the car has water in the carburetor." "Oh, you don't even know what a carburetor is. I'll go check it out. Where is the car?" "In the lake." And then, when Oli moved north, he discovered that he was the only Lutheran in a town full of Catholics. And that was not a problem until every Friday night he wanted to grill his venison steaks, and the aroma wafting through the neighborhood was too much for his neighbors. Them being Catholic, they couldn't eat meat on Fridays. So they approached him and told him to join their church. So Oli did, and the priest sprinkled him with holy water and said, "Oli, you were born a Lutheran. You were raised a Lutheran, but now you are a Catholic." Everyone went away happy. The next Friday night, though, there was the smell of meat grilling in the neighborhood. And the neighbors had, "We've got to go over and talk to Oli." And they went over there, and there was Oli, had a deer on his grill, sprinkling it with seasoned salt, saying, "You were born a deer, you were raised a deer, but now you are a fish."
Well, hello and welcome to Sacred Wit Season 2. This is our season premiere, and as if that alone was not exciting enough, welcome to Studio B at Elk River Lutheran Church. A new location, new studio here. What do you think? What do you guys think of the new studio?
The commute is a little annoying.
Yeah.
It's a long ways from Studio A.
It's not as convenient as the other one.
Yeah, well.
So long.
It's illuminating, though.
It is. I
like
feel.
our lights.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I really like about it is the ceiling. You know, I don't know, maybe isn't the greatest ceiling in the world, but it's up there.
Yeah.
Sacred Wit. Sacred Wit is a time to laugh together, unwind, and to reflect a little bit on some of these themes for the coming Sunday. So we are glad that you are here. Our theme for tonight and this coming Sunday is service. So we'll be thinking about service here tonight. And one question we want to invite you to reflect on some is, what is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? So think about that. And so while we do, why don't we introduce ourselves here? We already said welcome, but again, welcome to Sacred Wit. I'm Pastor Nathan, pastor here at Elk River Lutheran.
I'm Lisa Sampson, Director of Children, Youth, and Family Ministry.
I'm Taylor Quinn, the Director of Music and Worship.
And so as we get started here, it's fun that we've got our kind of devices here to see who is tuning in, who is here. And as we do, one thing we wanted to think about, a little game, a little activity, a little funtivity, a fun activity. Is
I like that.
as you're checking in, why don't you let us know if you think that you are the closest to the church who's online right now, or the furthest away from the church. So our address is 729 Main Street. If you feel so inclined to plug it into MapQuest, is that still a thing? MapQuest?
I think maybe.
MapQuest?
Maybe.
Take your ruler and do the map book.
Yeah, get a map from AAA
Oh
and Triptych. And so, anyway, if you think that you are the closest, chime in here. Who do you think is the closest? I already have my guess.
Oh, someone's out the window. They're the
think-
closest.
I think they are the closest.
Yeah. Who do you think is the closest? I think I have a good guess.
I don't know, but Jeremy isn't with us tonight because he's a little under the weather, but he thinks the lights are a classy touch. So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that,
Yep,
Jeremy.
you bet.
Very good. Well, so don't forget to chime in if you think that you are the furthest away or the closest. We want to hear it. The other thing we're going to be kind of talking a little bit about here tonight as we enter into this idea about service is the food service industry. Thought that was kind of a interesting kind of way into thinking about service as the food industry. So we're kind of curious. Well, I'm curious. Have you all worked in food service before? And have you all worked in food service before? So we'll be thinking about that. Do we have anyone chiming in?
Yeah. Valerie Ivers, White Bear Lake Superior Art Glass. Oh, wait. Oh. And then Marilyn Miller asked me to join our little group, and then we joined the church.
Well, tell us about. Have you? I've only worked in a restaurant very briefly. Friends of my parents owned Somebody's House restaurant up in Duluth. So if you're familiar with Old Duluth, Somebody's House was a restaurant.
Oh, you didn't forget their name.
No, Somebody's House restaurant. And I was dining there one night with my family, and the owner, Bill Bowie, came up and tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "I need you. We're really busy, and I'm shorthanded." So he threw one of their really classy, cool aprons on. I was 15, and I got to serve salads to tables, and that was my
Yeah.
big job. And I did that until my food arrived, and then I could eat. He did
Sure.
let me go eat.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work there. And I never did because then they closed down a couple years later, and I never worked in the food service. So I eat a lot out. I'm used to.
That's what counts, right?
Yeah, so I have experience.
Cold plates? When you did the salads,
Yeah.
was it
cold
cold plates?
Yep, and then the little kiosk. The little container had like 4 different salad
Oh,
dressings.
yeah.
Yes, and I had to carry that without spilling.
A salad with French and ranch put together.
Oh,
Delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in the food industry almost all my life. So my father owned the Evansville Meat Market in Evansville, and I would say that was the first food service job that we had, cutting meat, wrapping, and selling to people. And then I worked at Kramer's Supper Club and Lounge in Evansville, and I got accused of flirting with the wait staff, so I didn't lose a job because of that, but that's what happened. That was when I was young. And Brugger's Bagels, Caribou Coffee, Red Lobster, McDonald's was my first official job outside of Evansville. So I've done food service, and I loved Red Lobster. Red Lobster was my favorite, and I just loved it. I just loved it.
Yeah. We've got people chiming in about where they're from.
Oh, yes.
And Marianne Jackson says she lives probably the closest 2 blocks or 300 yards as the crow flies. I think that's pretty accurate. If we
Nice.
there weren't so many leaves on the trees, we could pretty much see her if she waved out her back door. And so, yeah.
I think that's the closest one too. How about from far away?
Yeah,
Well, we
have
got a White Bear Lake, right? Valerie Ivers, White
Yep.
Bear Lake.
Yeah. So what was it that you loved so much about Red Lobster?
Yeah.
Didn't you come home smelling like cheddar biscuits and stuff? And
That was the
seafood?
best part. What are you
Okay.
talking about?
So
No,
good.
I've always loved hosting and being hospitable, and I could do that all the time. Like I could take care of people in that way,
Sure.
So yeah, I loved it. It was fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Did you ever work in a restaurant?
I did. I worked at a very classy establishment, Chuck E. Cheese, or Charles, the E for entertainment, cheeses. And I did it when I was 22. And I actually, since I knew we were going to talk about this, brought this with. I'll put this up here to show a little bit of what that time looked like.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot going on in this picture. So I was 22 years old when I went to work for Chuck E. Cheese's. And you can see my ponytail blowing in the wind there.
Yes.
It is a ponytail.
It is a ponytail. And there was my polo shirt uniform. And is so funny. Like I said, I was 22 and I got trained in by a 17-year-old girl named Savannah. Don't know where Savannah's at these days. But anyway, so that's...
Look at him.
Look at that.
Man.
That's probably enough of that. But anyway, super fun time, and got to wear the mouse costume, play all the games, all the tokens I could ever use.
Could you really?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it was a fun gig, but also because I was 22 and like almost always one of the only ones over 21, I was always the one pouring beers for angry dads who are like mad about being at Chuck E. Cheese's with their kids, and so that was that was my experience. So I don't know. Anyone else chiming
Well,
in here
I
in the
have to
comments?
share.
Yep.
You got Vaughn Smith has something. He worked in a cheese plant.
Okay.
So-
Ooh, cheese
Chuck
plant.
E.
That's
Cheese
I mean
and
that's
cheese
food
plant.
service.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chuck E. Cheese. Cheese
Vaughn,
plant.
I'd be curious what your favorite cheese during that cheese plant was.
Yeah,
Oh
no
my gosh,
kidding.
that sounds amazing.
And Marge Lund was a car hop. Oh,
And
car
Dayton-
hop and
Car
Dayton
hop.
Skyroom. I love Dayton Skyroom.
So would that have been like on roller skates?
Ooh, like Sonic.
Yeah.
Jeremy worked as a busboy for a year. Worst job
He
I
loved
ever
it.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved it.
Jeremy,
Fallback, the
are you
fallback,
not wanting
Jeremy.
to put the place on blast? You don't want to name the place that was so terrible to work?
It's so funny.
Oh man. Well, if anyone else has items as well, let us know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That
yeah.
is
Because
so funny.
did you say earlier we're trying to do more interactive and like
That's one of our
comment
goals here.
and-
Yeah, absolutely.
comment.
Yeah, and so yeah, any other food service stories? Taylor, you must have stories galore, probably that are interesting to you, but maybe not us, or what?
I suppose I could. I don't know. I know that I started drinking alcohol when I worked at Red Lobster. I didn't drink until then. I don't know. We growing up at the meat market, we would play more than work
Really?
on Saturdays,
Yeah.
and it was my brother and I. We would ball up this wax paper and then tape it, and we would throw it around and shoot hoops
Sure.
into the big barrels that you would put the meat in. So
So you guys were very helpful.
we were very helpful.
Well, if anyone else has more stories, make sure to drop them. But since you mentioned playing, that leads me to think do 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 do. It's time for a game.
Oh, Jeremy, we wish you were here.
Yes. Okay. Well, you all can play along at home and chime in with this little game called Name That Dining Establishment. Okay. We were talking
That'll be
food
fun.
industry. And
So
so
somebody's place?
Somebody's house.
and dining establishment is maybe a lot of these would fit into the quick service dining category. So not
Okay.
necessarily the fanciest dining establishments always, but nonetheless, here is question number 1. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready? Yeah.
Okay. So, in an August 25th press release, this fast food restaurant announced that during this COVID-19 time, it would be dropping its famous tagline because it was obviously problematic for this time. Name that famous dining establishment.
Now I'm thinking of taglines.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Hi-
Your way, the right way? No, what's
No,
the
that-
Burger King one?
have it your way.
Have it your way. What's Taco Bell's?
Well, it would have to be probably encouraging people to come in and like.
Oh, Applebee's. Would Applebee's like eating good in the neighborhood?
We don't know. Kentucky Fried Chicken, Daryl Jones says.
Daryl's watching
Yeah.
KFC. He'd probably know.
Well, let me read from
Finger
the press
looking good.
release. From the press release, we find ourselves in a unique situation, having an iconic slogan that doesn't quite fit the current environment, said Catherine Tan Gillespie, Global Chief Marketing Officer at KFC.
Oh, he got
Daryl,
it,
yeah.
Daryl.
Daryl,
Good job,
slam dunk
Good job.
with that one because
you get a round of applause
Yes,
on that one.
that made.
yes, indeed, finger licking good.
He might have been Googling that though at home too.
Probably he
Not
does that.
good right now, right? Finger licking good is not. This is not the
No.
time for finger licking.
Before you continue, though, Valerie Ivor said she worked salad side and steak side at York Steakhouse as a teenager.
Nice. That sounds like a snazzy place.
Yeah, it sounds like a snazzy place.
All right. Well, question number 2.
All right,
we're going a
we've
little
got
more
this one.
local. We're going a little more local.
Okay. Loco like crazy.
Local, but maybe loco. Living La Vida
El Pollo
Loco.
Loco.
Okay,
It's a restaurant.
this is the only
Crazy
downtown Elk River food and or beverage establishment that provides online ordering for curbside pickup.
Sunshine Depot.
Don't they all? Pompeii Pizza? Big Daddy's?
Online ordering for curbside. Downtown here or all of Elk River?
Downtown.
Because again, there's an Applebee's over there.
Yes, yes. I'm thinking just downtown. Who has a website with online ordering?
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Anyone?
help? Help?
Daryl, help.
Yeah, Daryl, help.
Taylor.
Daryl, do you know?
Okay.
Well, I named a couple of them, but I don't know.
Well, what are the ones down the road?
Like,
Like,
you mean like online, where you can actually pick everything you want online
go
without
ahead.
talking to a person?
Correct.
Ooh.
it's probably iEar.
Yeah.
You think? No?
Oh, I've done it.
Got a couple seconds left.
All right.
Oh,
hang on.
we're killing it here.
Someone
Okay.
says Old Main
Ooh.
or Sunshine Depot.
These are good guesses.
Phyllis, and I would say Phyllis and Jeremy. Oh no, Dale says Old Main. It's not Daryl's wheelhouse.
That's not right.
Ron and Gloria and Vaughn and Michelle say Sunshine Depot. I'm gonna go with Sunshine Depot.
Okay. I'm going to say iEar Brewing. So, but there's a caveat. So they do have an online website, curbside pickup. Sunshine Depot does Grubhub, but that's delivery. They would prefer you phone in your orders. Same with every other restaurant and store downtown, except for Avalon, which also has an online website. So, shout out to those online adapters. Everyone else, they'd rather you call on the phone.
Wait, so what's the answer?
Yeah,
iEar Brewing Company.
Okay, because
I've
you
done
said
it,
I
yeah.
would say that. I'm going.
Yep.
So are you guessing at your
Yeah,
own
no,
question?
no,
No, I
yeah,
was gonna
right.
say, what?
I'm gonna guess this one.
I've,
No, no.
I've actually done that.
Yes.
More than once.
Yep, they have
Not me.
curbside, but
Yeah.
everyone else who has curbside would rather you phone and not online order. So there you go.
Interesting.
Okay, this popular
Now you know.
pizza chain found a way to sell their bad pizza to unknowing customers on DoorDash and other popular food service deliveries by changing their name to Pasquale's Pizza and Wings. Which pizza place did that?
Domino's?
Pizza Hut.
Because they thought no one wants delivery from us, so let's change our name and trick people into ordering our pizza.
Papa John's?
Sure. I don't know.
I would say Domino's. Or Little Caesars.
Kind of like Papa John's. A little.
It was, in fact, I don't know if anyone else out there is guessing.
Anyone?
See.
Probably not. It's not in Daryl's wheelhouse, so.
Pasquale Pizza and Wings. If you order from Pasquale, you are actually ordering from my alma mater, Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh!
Chuck E. Cheese's. If you have ever thought, wow, I wish I could eat Chuck E. Cheese pizza, but without all the fun and games, no one had
No.
ever thought that. And so when COVID hit, they found a way to change their name on those services so that maybe people would be tricked into ordering their pizza.
Well, we learned something.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So
Pasquale's
similarly, in the similar vein, if you are craving wings, you can order from Neighborhood Wings, which is a shell name for what full-service chain bar and grill? Neighborhood Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Applebee's.
Oh,
I've
Applebee's.
been talking about it all
You
night long.
got it.
Applebee's.
Yes, indeed. Okay, last
Just like
one
deliver
here.
whack-a-mole. Good one, Daryl.
That is the problem. See, they can't deliver their funds, so they have to just change their name to trick folks. Isn't that funny? Okay, lastly, this popular taco chain is cutting some of their most popular offerings from their menu in 2020. Trimming down, slimming down, simplifying the menu.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is
I saw it on
correct.
Facebook. Somebody wrote an article.
Oh,
about
you
it.
did?
Yeah.
Yes, and one of their so they're losing the pico de gallo, the shredded chicken, and the Mexican pizza. Can you guess why they might be cutting Mexican pizza?
Because
This
it's
is
not
just like
very
the
good.
bonus. No, people love it. It's actually an environmentally conscious decision because here's the line. Currently, this is from their press release. Currently, Mexican pizza packaging accounts for over 7 million pounds of paperboard material per year in the US of A.
Wow.
Wow.
Mexican pizza at Taco Bell produces 7 million pounds of greasy trash paper each year. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ugh.
oh, that
maybe
was kind of a
that's-
bummer of a
that's-
way to end the
Man, we were really good tonight.
We were so good.
just
So
crushing it.
good.
That was the air horn I wanted to use more, but use it a little bit anyway.
Jeremy said it's the rats, Nathan, that scares people away, not the pizza.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
French
fair
fries.
enough. If you get in the suit, you'll really be scared. It smells bad.
Did you all see the comment from Vicky Simpson? She used to work at Green Giant pack worm picker. That is a mouthful. So Green Giant, but she was a pea pack worm picker, and she got, it looks like 5 cents per worm. That's
Ooh.
crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad someone's picking out the worms, but I'm kind of grossed out that that job exists.
Yeah, ew.
Yeah.
Ew,
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Taco Bell. Who knew Taco Bell is eco-friendly? Oh my gosh. I'm loving these comments. This
These
is
are
so
great.
fun. This is
Thank
fun.
you for doing that.
Yeah, well, so our theme for tonight is service, and food service is, I think, a good way into it because we've all experienced good service at a restaurant and probably not so good. And so, again, this question we're going to be coming back to a few times is, what is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? So we'll be kind of rolling that around our heads here today. But we're going to continue with this scripture reading that we'll be hearing again on Sunday. And so does someone want to read this for us?
I can.
Sure.
Okay. From Philippians 2, verses 1 through 5. If then there is any encouragement in Christ, any consolation from love, any sharing in the Spirit, any compassion and sympathy, make my joy complete. Be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing for selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. Here ends the reading.
Yeah, perfect. Good form. Yeah, and so that reading is the lead up to what's called the Christ hymn, and we'll hear about it. Jeremy who actually said isn't able to be here tonight because he was feeling a little under the weather, and he mentions that here. He put together a little video, kind of reflection on this theme of service and this text. So we're going to share that with you all now. So let's listen to Jeremy.
Good evening, everybody. I wish I could be there, but a sinus infection is keeping me at home, and I think that's for the best. I wanted to share just a brief little reflection on serving tonight, give you some thoughts to think about. When I was a kid, one time my dad and I went to go get gas in our pickup truck. And my dad, being my dad, who's a fairly generous person, at one point asked me to go pay for the gas. So he handed me some cash, and he said, go in, I want you to pay for the truck, and I want you to pay for that car over there. And so being, 11 or 12 at the time, I thought, okay, whatever. And so I walked in, paid for the gas, paid for the other pump, and I walked back out, and I looked at my dad, and I said, why did we do that? And my dad looked at me, and he just said, just watch. And so a few seconds went by, and this person came out of the building, just crying and smiling, and a big thank you coming out of her mouth as she's walking out the door. And my dad leaned over, and he said, that's why. Because serving others matters. Serving others means that for the briefest of moments, as uncomfortable as it feels, we step into someone else's story. And for the briefest of moments, we get the opportunity to experience something unique. And I love this text from Philippians today. Paul is writing to a people not who are dealing with major issues like most of the other letters. Paul is actually writing to encourage people to live out their faith. And he does so by reminding them of the example of who steps into our story. That Jesus empties himself, takes the form of a slave, born in human form, and humbles himself on the cross. And we know the beauty of Jesus' ministry is that he serves a ton of people on the way. And he washes feet. And in that becomes joy and compassion and sympathy. It is about the unity that binds people together in an opportunity to invest in someone else. You see, we at Elk River Lutheran have this idea of serving others and serving God as part of our mission statement, because we're committed to, and we hope we can, invest in the lives of our community. My prayer and my hope as you think about this opportunity is to think about what does it mean for you to step beyond what's comfortable and step into the story of someone else. To love like Jesus, who washes your feet, is the same Jesus who washes someone else's.
Well, thanks, Jeremy. And as we are going to get ready to continue, kind of pondering Jeremy's thoughts and this question, what is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? Think about that. Even if you want to start typing it out, we'd love to hear you, see you share some of those answers. And while we do that, Taylor's going to play a little song for us. You want to share what you're playing?
This Little Light of Mine.
Yes.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Woohoo!
Yes, we'll clap on behalf of everyone for
Yep.
you.
Yay!
Well, so that question, we invite you to share your answers to this question. What is the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? And maybe this is a big thing, maybe it's a smaller thing, but we'll start by sharing ours, and we'd love to see some of yours too. So what do you guys think? What's the kindest thing someone has ever done for you? That's kind of a big pressure question, but whatever first comes to mind, even.
The first thing that I thought of is many years ago, I had bought my first house by myself.
Sure.
It was a big deal. And then I lost my job the same week. And so I had to scramble. And a lot of friends helped out, but my one friend, Susan, she came over and took me to lunch at least 3 days a week. Didn't say anything about anything. She would just say, I'm coming to pick you up for lunch. And because we meet for lunch every once in a while. We still do. And she paid for lunch, and she kind of kept me going. She never gave me money. I don't think I would have taken it. I would have been too embarrassed, but she really fed me, and that was neat because it was a hard time.
Yeah, and you didn't expect it.
No.
I when we were kind of prepping for this today, I thought about the question. I was thinking, oh my gosh, when is the times that I was surprised by kindness? You know, because I think a lot of times I go through life and I kind of expect people, because some people are good, to do good things.
Yeah.
And I really have to think about when were the times that I didn't expect it and I was so surprised by it. I would say back in college, I had expressed during choir, we did like the prayer time because, Christian college. And I had expressed my concern. I had to have my wisdom teeth pulled out. And so I told it to the choir, and I said, I'm really kind of scared about it because I can't afford this. Well, one of my friends from choir actually then decided to help me out, and she paid for the whole procedure. Yeah. And that was a very generous and a very deep act of kindness. That, oh my gosh, I mean, I have holes in my jaw now because of that.
Yeah.
And a good reason for it,
Yes.
So just the moments like that, surprised by kindness, surprised by generosity.
I think one of the things I had thought of, a big experience from my and Annie's life together was, I've talked about before, when our house in Minot flooded, and we ended up, rebuilding this house, and that whole process, so many people helped us in really big ways and small ways, in literally helping shovel mud out of the basement, to helping pay for things like windows or those different things. People helped with specific little projects, and we even had like friends who were in the Twin Cities who were a long ways away from Minot, like order Pizza Hut and had it delivered to our house while we were working there. And anyway, just so many examples of that. There were so many people that were so good to us during that time, and we'll never forget it. I mean, we're just eternally grateful. It's just
I love that people from the cities were calling and ordering you pizza.
Isn't that great?
That's just great.
Yeah.
Just great.
Dale online shared a story and made me think of one too. He realized he had forgotten his wallet after he'd eaten his meal, and a server, without getting a chance to say a word, paid that bill. Oh. I was at Chipotle once, rushed in there to get lunch at lunchtime, and got to the end where I'm paying for it, and my credit card was gone, or my check card, and I didn't have another credit card with me at that time, and I only had like $5 cash. And so I said, I have my checkbook, and he goes, you know what, you have a lot on your mind. He goes, lunch is on us today, you go find out where you left your card.
That's great.
Yeah. And I almost cried because I was so worried about where my card was.
Yeah.
But wasn't that was kind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was very
kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Dale, for sharing that story. Appreciate
absolutely. It. I think about when my parents got divorced, Mom went to another church, and I think people at that church saw the need a single mom of 4 kids needs. Sure. And there was a couple families that really just kind of started to invest in us as a family, and it wasn't generosity that I take from it. It was kindness. It was this ability this desire to give to what is a needy situation, and our lives are better because of that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think about that. We have the advantage of having this Philippians text in front of us, and one of the lines in verse 3 is, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit." Yeah. And I think when it's true kindness, you can see there's no ulterior motive. It's just when things are done just out of love, and it's noticeable. That's exactly what we're called to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Phyllis writes that she was recovering from pneumonia and couldn't eat anything, and somebody from church brought her a malt.
Yeah.
And how good that tasted, and how much that fed her. Yeah.
I bet. Well, I hope too that people are inspired to be kind rather than expect it, but to take this and decide to be kind, because I think taking time to remember what's the kindest thing helps us know, well, we can just do that and be that for someone else. And what a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think I just love hearing these stories. And one of the other lines that the Apostle Paul writes is, make my joy complete. That we all experience joy, like when these things happen. Like, I don't know who at Chipotle paid for your meal that day, or who the server that paid for Dale's thing, or who helped with your teeth, or whatever. And yet hearing these stories, it's like, yes, there is good in this world. This is a good place that we are in, this world. And so it's like that can bring not only joy to the person you're being kind to, but when those stories are shared, it just is multiplied.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Remember those children's books where they would talk about, like, you get angry at someone, and that person gets angry at someone else, and that whole cycle, and then someone turns it around by being nice, and it comes back.
Yep.
Like, I really think
Yeah.
that's the effect.
Remember the movie Pay It Forward?
Yeah.
And that little boy came up with a whole idea, and he started that ball rolling, and just that idea that when you're kind to somebody, they'll turn around and do that back. It's good.
Yeah.
But not to get it back. Like,
No.
Right. That's
Just
not
No,
the
but,
out
pure
of
but,
motivation.
just, but just think of the wave that would happen.
Yeah.
That would be really very sweet.
Yeah. And so we hope we have. I would love to see a pandemic of kindness. Right. That's the pandemic
Wouldn't that
we
be
need.
better?
Ooh, I like that.
With no vaccine, ever.
Yeah. We don't need
Yeah.
a kindness vaccine. That's what you mean, right?
Yes, that's what I meant.
We'll take a COVID vaccine. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
But yeah, I think absolutely a pandemic of kindness, just to spread kindness, will just make everything, including this whole experience, a little more bearable. Well, and so we want to encourage you to keep sharing. If you haven't shared yet and you would want to share examples of kindness, please do keep the conversation going. We wanted to have another kind of way of closing this. We're going to kind of try closing Sacred Wit each week with a little thing called the best part of my week. And full disclosure, this is a total ripoff of Sam Sanders, NPR host who hosts a podcast called It's Been a Minute. And Sam Sanders is awesome. And anyway, he closes his show each week with this little thing called Best Part of My Week, where he invites his listeners to call in, leave these voicemail messages sharing the best parts of their week. Have you guys heard this before? I didn't ask this before. You've heard?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so anyway, so he does this each week, and he always says, we encourage folks to brag, and they do. And it's kind of this fun thing where people sometimes share really deep and like monumental kind of things, like someone completed cancer treatments this week and that was the best part of the week. Absolutely. And sometimes it's like, I took my dog for a walk and bought a slice of pizza on the sidewalk and it was so good, like it was just the best thing I've ever had. And so it could be anything like that, super monumental or a little smaller, but we're going to invite you to share the best parts of your week too, and we'll start it off doing that as well, but would love to just kind of end on this positive kind of note on what's been the best part of your week. We encourage you to brag. Yeah.
Yep,
And
brag
so
away.
go ahead and do that, and we'll share ours too. So who wants to go first?
Daryl and I jackhammered our cement steps on the back of our house last weekend, and it still
Yes.
is the best part of my week. Oh my gosh, 2 days of the hardest work, but it was wonderful.
Yes.
I got to drive a pontoon boat. I grew up on a lake, and so I haven't driven a boat in many years. And so I got to drive the pontoon boat, and it turned like the Titanic. But it was fun.
It didn't sink like the Titanic,
No,
though,
it
did
did
it?
not.
That's
But I
good.
remember
That's good.
I was too far in the weeds, got a little too far over, and I was cranking it, and I'm like, this thing is like the Titanic, and
Yeah.
it was so much fun. But that was the best part.
Oh, that's good.
Lovely.
I think the best part of my week, probably the best part of Annie's week too, is that our kids have gone back to school. And that is both selfishly as a parent, so that they're not home fighting with each other all day like they have been for the last 6 months. They play well together, but it's been too much together time. And so it's good to have them doing something else, but it is also just so good. I'm so happy for them to be around other kids, and it's different. They're wearing masks and they're social distancing and all that stuff, and yet it's still just so good. I'm just so happy for them. So yeah, happy for them, happy for us. It's a good thing all around.
It is
so,
a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Valerie talks about, best part of my week was seeing 2 birds in migration. What is it? The American red, probably the starlet maybe, or the and the black throated green warble. Oh, how cool is that?
Nice. That's
a
great.
nice. That's nice.
Oh, your friend Kyle, you were the best part of somebody's week.
You
there.
were the best part.
I
Nathan.
had a great phone call yesterday with Nathan, dear friend, and lots of laughs.
Oh man. Thanks, Kyle.
Jeremy
right.
connected with old friends too. That's awesome.
Yep, and Dale went to Saginaw, Minnesota to register show rabbits.
Nice.
Oh, that was where my cabin was, by Saginaw.
Okay, you know that place.
I do know that place.
Oh,
Very
not
fun.
turning on the TV, Phyllis. I see that.
Yes.
That's nice.
That's a good idea.
I think it's going to be fun if we're doing this every week, that we think about this as we're going through our week, looking
Yeah.
for what is the best part of our week.
Right.
And you should do that too. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, I love
So,
that.
because
Yeah.
this is something we'll come back to. We're going to be back Sacred Wit next week. We'll have some more laughs, some fun, and also just some thinking about service stuff. Next week's theme is welcoming, so thinking about what that's going to be all about. But if you haven't shared your best part of your week, it's not too late. Taylor's going to sing us out by reprising This Little Light of Mine, and while he does that, if you haven't yet, by all means, chime in and share the best part of your week, and then we'll send off and say farewell for the week.
You bet. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Woohoo!
Yes, well, thank you, Taylor, and thank you all for joining us here on Sacred Wit. We'll be back next week, and we look forward to more fun, more conversation, and learning a little bit about what's going on in everybody's life. Taylor just subtly lowered his stool. That was so smooth. No one even noticed, I don't think. So until then, we'll see you. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.